Here on the front side of the box, you can see you have the watch design right here, but I did take a peek at the watch. It's slightly different from this. Here on the side, you can see all the features. Also the feature of the temperature, that's its main feature. And they actually, they showcase it right here on the front of the box. And you can see it here once again: body temperature detection, blood oxygen monitoring, blood pressure, heart rate. This is IP68 water resistant. Don't use this to like go deep into water or anything. It's not made for that. Even on the smartphones, when you see IP68, the warranty will not cover if you get water inside the phone, even though it says IP68. That's just a precaution. Some people think it's made to, go diving and stuff. It's not for that. It's just a precaution. So keep that in mind. You have the workout modes. Then you have the ultra thin body, which said it's very similar to the Apple Watch. On the rear side of the box, you can see the QR code, which you can read with your device, with your phone, to connect to the Link to Sport app. This is the app that you're going to use to connect the watch to your smartphone. So let's check out what's inside the box and we'll go from there. So here you can see the watch inside the box. They actually have this little sticker on the front to simulate the display. The box is basic, nothing special. So let's take it out. Then in terms of accessories, so you don't get any chargers with these low-cost smartwatches. You do with higher-end ones, but these don't. And you can see that the charger is not magnetic. So in order to for the watch to stay in here, it has a little button mechanism and a lid. So what you're going to do is you're going to place the smartwatch in here. You can see the crown lines up with this little notch right here. And you can see the little pins right there for the charger. And they're right there. And what you do is just line this up like so. And you close this little lid. And then you have the cable. Also inside the box, you have the manual. So it has like a quick explanation of the watch. It gives you the specs. If you want to pause the video, you can check out the specs here. So you have the 160 milliamp hour battery, which should last for 5 days or 20 days in standby. That's what the brand claims. You have a 1.3 inch TFT 240 by 240 display, capacitive touch screen. The body's all plastic, no metal here. And it's compatible with Android 5.1 or iOS 9.0 up. No GPS. You have no GPS, but besides that, you have all the basic, sensors that you have on other smartwatches. You can see that's the power button right there. You have the little connector, the charging connector, the temperature sensor that I spoke about. You have the little QR code once again to connect your app, and a little explanation on how to connect your device, what the steps to follow. Here once again, how to read the QR code from your phone on the watch. And these are the settings for the Link to Sport app. You have to allow permissions for it to be able to control your device. This is the basic setup of the menus, the menu system, and the dials. So the watch faces that you can get, you get 4 watch faces. I don't think they're personalizable. You can't add any more. And then you have the temperature sensor, which is their main feature. And then also in the box, you have a little screen protector, which they give, which is a nice little detail. You don't have to buy this. So you can glue this on your watch face. The charging cable is around 30 centimeters long, so not very long. And in order to charge this, I'll show you in a minute. Let's get this off this thingy. So let's take off the screen protector that comes with the watch. And you can see right away that you can actually differentiate the actual screen from this bezel here. So it's not completely fused. It would be nicer if it was all black, but you can actually see the screen in there. I don't know if you can see that in the video. It's kind of a little bit of a bummer, but nothing serious. Like I said, you have the silicone strap, 22 millimeters. It's okay. It's not like high grade or anything, but it will do the job. And it feels smooth, comfortable, I guess. So here on the rear side of the watch, you can see the connectors. You have 2 connectors for the body temperature. You have the little, the diode that reads the blood pressure, your heartbeat and all that. And then you have the 2 little connectors there that are for charging. So it looks nice. You can see it has a really nice design, very similar to the Apple Watch. And you're paying like $25 for this. And you can see the sensors once again in detail. Let me give you a nice little show so you can see this. You can see how the watch band is attached to the device. You have this little pin slider right here. This comes with no charge inside the box, so you have to charge it. And in order to charge this, it's very simple. Like I said, you just place this in this little charger case, close the lid to make it you make sure it's secure, and then you get the little USB cable, connect it to your charger, and it starts charging. You get this little indicator. So I've actually already charged it a bit. You can see that it's charging. It took about an hour to get these three little lines here from 0 to those 3 lines, and it's still not fully charged. I think it was about an hour or so, more or less. So that's how you charge it. And then you just remove it from the case and you got it here. So let's just power this on. Now to power this on, you press the little crown and you get this first watch face. This is how it comes out of the box. Now I'm not quite sure how the screen brightness is right now. It's at max brightness, and I have the studio lights pointing right at the device. So and they're very powerful, the lights. So you can see it's pretty bright. You can see it fairly well. Then I'll take a quick test outside so you can see it outdoors, how it looks. And then in terms of watch faces, what you have to do is, get this on, just long press, and then you just scroll. You have 4 watch faces. So you have this one, that one, and the original one, the one that came out of the box. So in order to scroll through the menus, you go to the right, you get into the apps. As you scroll to the right, you get into all the options available. So you have step, sports, sleep, health, message, alarm, music, and then the QR code if you want to scan this with your phone so you can connect to the app. To go back, you press the crown once. So we'll see that in a minute. And then if you swipe to the right like this, you get the step counter. It tells you how long you've walked, your paces, how many calories you spent. And then if you scroll up, you have the heart rate sensor. This stays on, the screen stays on while it's reading, so keep that in mind. It will drain your battery if you keep this on for a long time. And then if you swipe up once again, you get the sleep register. You get the QR code once again. They keep showing the QR code to make sure you connect this to the app. And then if I go back to the home screen, let me get that back again. If I swipe down, you go into these quick settings, which is the screen brightness. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of brightness. You have the battery indicator. You can go here into settings. You also have the brightness setting right here where you can actually visually see the level. So you have 5 levels of brightness. So that's the max. 4, 3, 2, 1. You have once again the QR code to read. Here you can control your camera if it's connected to your device. You can remotely shoot the camera of your phone. You have the find phone option. So if this is connected to your phone, you don't know where your phone is, you press this and your phone will start to ring. I believe you can also do it the other way around. This is to reset the watch. Then you have the about, which shows you the software version. This is version 0.0.4 out of the box. And then if I go back to the home screen again, you go into the messages. So these are the messages when it's linked to your phone that will show up. You have the step counter, you have the distance you've walked, you have the calories you've spent, nothing else. Now if I go back, you go into the sports option, you have walk, which is if you're on a treadmill. Then you have run on a treadmill as well. You have cycling. Then you have climbing, swimming, and then you have the history option. So I don't have any history here since I haven't used this yet. I don't know if I will get to use this because there's actually a person waiting for this watch. Then if I go down, then if you go into the sleep option, that's the sleep monitor. You can use this while you're sleeping to check your sleep. Just, see if you're restless during the nighttime, if you're getting the sleep that you should get. Pretty nice. And you have this little health option, which shows once again the heart rate sensor. So if you open this, like I said, the screen stays on while it's reading. We'll test that in a few minutes. Then if you go back into health again, you have the blood pressure monitor to read your blood pressure. You have the O2 level. This is to read the oxygen level in your bloodstream. These all use the diode in the reverse side of the phone. You can see a little diode there. That's what it uses to measure that, just like another smartwatches. And if we swipe down, we go back, we have the message option, which doesn't have any messages since I do not have this connected to the phone yet. And then if I go back, you have the alarm. You cannot set the alarms in the watch. You have to do it in the app. There's no way to do it in the watch. You can also control the music from your phone, from your watch on your phone. You can, I guess, skip tracks and whatnot. Not very useful for me, but you have that option if you want to. You also have this option right here in the menu system, which is the timer. So let's say you want a countdown timer. You would set whatever timer you like, and then you press play and it'll do a countdown. I believe it also has an alarm for that. Then you have the stopwatch option, so you can use this as a stopwatch. You can pause. So again, you can feel a little vibration here going. You can set laps, but it's not actually recording the laps. You can't see them like lined up. Let's check out the heart rate sensor just for you guys to get an idea of this working. So you can see it stays on as long as you're using it. It does not shut off. Be careful not to leave it on or else it'll drain your battery. Just wait for it to finish. So I'm getting 81, 79. Yeah, so that's pretty accurate. It's pretty much what I get on other smartwatches, pretty similar. Now let's test out the blood pressure monitor. Now, unlike the heart rate sensor, the screen on this one will actually shut off after a while. So I'm getting these values. These values are pretty much what I get on the blood pressure monitor that I have there, an actual blood pressure monitor that I have there. So pretty similar. And then the blood oxygen. So the concentration of O2 in your bloodstream, it's measuring now. All these sensors, the heart rate sensor, the blood pressure sensor, and this O2 sensor are all using that diode that I showed you previously in the video. This one takes a little bit longer than the other ones, so we just have to wait for it to finish. And normally I get like 97, 98 on other smartwatches. Let's see how much this one gets. On average, of course. So 97. Pretty much what I get on the other ones, like I said. And yeah, that's it, guys. Here you can see the messages, how they show up. This is how they show up. You swipe to the right, go down, down, all the way down to the last page, which is this one right here. You press temperature, and it's going to read. I have to remind you that it has to be on your wrist for over an hour to actually give accurate readings. It needs to stabilize. So this is what it's reading. It's more or less what you'll get if your body temperature is normal, but I have to remind you that it's reading your skin temperature, not your inner core temperature. Then it uses the app with an algorithm to kind of calculate what your inner core temperature should be measuring based on what the watch is reading on your skin temperature. And also, if you go into the sports option, let's go into walk, for example, you can actually establish targets. So let's say you want to walk for 2 hours or whatever, you can just, or you can customize right here. So you have a customize option where you can customize the time that you want to walk or run or do whatever sport you're doing, and then you just start it and it'll ring also an alarm when you reach that goal time. You have mileage, like I already showed you. You have calories. Let's say you want to burn a certain amount of calories, you have the goal of burning a certain amount of calories. You pick one of these options. You can also customize the number of calories you want to burn, and then when you press OK, it'll do a countdown. You start your exercise, and when you reach your goal in calories, it'll sound an alarm, I guess. And then also the distance and the steps that you've made. Pretty cool. You can pause and play, you can stop, and all that good stuff. Now, like I said before, it does have an IP68 water resistant rating. So we're going to test this in water. You can see, here it is. And so you can see, still working. So So you can see it's still working perfectly. So that's pretty cool to have that feature right here, you know, and that's such a cheap watch. So as you can see, it's still working perfectly. No issue whatsoever. Okay guys, so now let's take a look at the app really quickly. Now if you notice here on the bottom part of the app, so as soon as we open this up, you can see that on walking, indoor walk, running, indoor running, cycling, climbing, swim, I have no register whatsoever because I simply didn't use that option on the watch. So it should work fairly okay. And yeah, sorry for that guys, but I just didn't have time to do that yet. But you can see that these steps are registered. So the basic steps that you take are being registered here on the app. As you can see, you have the distance, the time, the calories that I burnt. So I just did a quick test on this. And then as you use the watch, you will see that it registers all the days that you use it'll register the values. And you can see that here on the body temperature, since that was one thing that I did test here on the watch and while it was connected to the phone. You can see the body temperature record here, which shows the high body temperature and the low, the high and low. Then you have by week and by month, but I don't have enough values registered already to be able to actually show you guys, unfortunately. But you can see here on this bottom part where these little bars are, that the light blue bar is what actually is the reading temperature of the watch. Now you can see here that these two lower temperatures that we're seeing was when I dunked the watch inside the water. It actually lowered significantly. So that's when I actually dropped it in the water. But you know, besides that, you have other measurings that here during the day. And you can see that the green bar is actually what the temperature should be. The algorithm is determining what the temperature is, your core temperature, what it's like, okay? So it's using the blue bar to read the skin temperature, and then it's doing an algorithm to actually determine what your real inner core temperature is. Don't use this as a real means to measure your body temperature. Just use it as a reference to see if your temperature is going up and to warn you, okay? So I wouldn't use this for more than that. You know, it is cool, but I wouldn't really rely on this too much. You can see the heart rate sensor here. It's giving me these values. It's measuring along the day. Then you have sleep. Sleep, I have no register either because I did not test it during sleep time. And then these options right here, you can have the notifications that you want the watch to give you, on what apps you want it to warn you. You have the alarm clock, which is actually off. You have a sedentary reminder, drinking reminder. You have this option, lift the wrist for a bright screen. That's actually to use your wrist. When you lift your wrist, the watch will turn on without having to touch it. You can activate or deactivate it. Pretty cool. This is the heart rate monitoring if you want it constantly on, and you can set the start and finish time that you want it, and the intervals that you want to set it to. Then you have body temperature monitoring. You can also do the same thing, just like the heart rate sensor. You can tell the app in what intervals and minutes you want it. If you want it every 10 minutes, 30 or 60, that's the same thing, similar to what we see on the heart rate sensor. You have the Find Device app. So now the watch, I actually press this and the watch is ringing now. It's vibrating. Then you have firmware update, device version. We already saw that. You have restore to factory settings, or you can unbind the watch from your device. I have settings here. Nothing else to see here. The app is okay. It's not great, but it's sufficient for what we need. For the basic needs of any light sports. If you're doing really intense sports, if you do it professionally, I recommend getting a better smartwatch than this one. Something a little bit higher quality and with some more features and a little bit more reliable, because it works, but it's not that reliable for high-end sports. If you're really doing this intensively, you want something a little bit better. So yeah, guys, this is a nice little smartwatch. I'm not going to get into much more detail about this. Really cool little, smartwatch, and I definitely recommend it for the price that you're paying. It's so cheap that I definitely recommend it. So yeah, and once again, thank you for all my subscribers. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. See you later, and bye-bye.